Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by our lovely Anime Addicts community, keeping this podcast ad-free. If you want to help support the show, get all of our exclusive content, free access to the Discord, show notes, and of course, that warm feeling you get inside when you do a good thing, you can go to our Patreon page, or you can go to our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. That'll get you to where you can support the show. You get all of our exclusive goodies. And again, you'll be helping out your favorite podcast. And now, it's time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello. Welcome to the 833rd episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Caroline, and I got Otaku here. How's it going?
It is going spectacular. I'm really excited to be here. Just got back from a Mexican Caribbean cruise, so I'm ready to talk some anime with one of my favorite co-hosts.
Oh, yes. I'm sure this really does beat the massive vacation you just went on. I'm sure you would much rather be here than there.
Oh, for sure.
Are you going to talk a little more about it later, or is you have other plans for Hobby Addicts?
I can fit both, because I can talk a little bit about my cruising, but I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the huge announcements that Nintendo threw
at
an entire generation of gamers this past week.
Yeah. Well, I'm more interested in vicariously living through you and having fun this with your trip and all that. But I also had a little bit of fun too, because I'm gonna be talking about medieval times. It's gonna be good. All right. So looking ahead at this current episode that we are on today, we are talking about red hot flag romances, and I'm so excited that we're going to be talking about one of my favorite genres, but also talking about how they might not be kosher in real life, if you would.
Apropos, if you will.
Yeah. But then we're going to move on from that and go into comparatively very cute romance. We're going to be talking about You and I Are Polar Opposites, and I can't wait. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of who we are, what we do, if you are new around here, we are live on Twitch every Sunday at 10 a.m. You can feel free to join us. You can also watch the episodes on YouTube if you go to AAAPodcast. And we also have our Discord, AAADiscord.com. It's free to join. It's so much fun. A lot of different channels to chat in. You can also join the Anime Club. We are together every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And our next meeting's on June 24th, where we will be discussing High School DxD.
Oh my.
Listen, this was not my choice. This was randomly selected because one of the other members of Anime Club wanted to discuss it. And who am I to take away from the people's request? So we are going to be discussing that if you're interested.
Here I thought it was because it was rom-com coded and you couldn't wait to discuss the finer dynamics of polyromantic relationships.
Oh, no. This was totally at random. All right. Unless you have anything else you want to add, are we ready for big news of the week?
No, I can't wait for you to read yours, so let's get right into the news.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Somehow this also got romance coded. I, again, did not make this on purpose, but it just so happened to come up, and I'm like, we gotta talk about this. So a Japanese insecticide company called Earth Corporation has made the very unlikely announcement that they are releasing a dating simulator starring voice actor Yuki Kaji.
Oh my God.
So, if you're interested in playing an insecticide-themed dating sim, it goes by the name Gokigen Lovely Days, and apparently there's like a word play going on. There's cockroaches involved in the title here. But in English, it goes by Happy Lovely Days. Kaji voices all 4 of the female leads in this romance simulation. The game follows you, the player, assuming the role of a recruit at Ethar Corporation. I'm assuming a play off of Earth Corporation, the people who have actually made it. And you would be falling in love with one of the 4 male leads who are Ikemen cockroaches.
It's so The Fly coded. If you've never seen the movie The Fly, that's exactly what it made me think of. It's in the 1980s movie with Jeff Goldblum, and
Yes,
it's based off of a 1950s. But regardless, this is what it's giving. It's giving The Fly. But I saw the screenshots of this, and it just looks so ridiculous. And I just know it's going to do well for reasons.
It's just, there's nothing cockroachy about the characters unless they have other character designs where they are slowly turning into cockroaches that I've not seen yet. But basically they're like introduced, and their names kind of play off of the features of the different species of cockroaches that they are trying to emulate. And I do have a minor spoiler if people don't mind. I do believe it does end with you, the player, killing your cockroach boyfriend. The game is currently available for free through the Earth Corporation website on PC and smartphone browsers. I don't know if it's in English or not, though. I did not look that up. But I don't suppose you really need to know much Japanese in order to get the enjoyment out of this game.
I don't think so. I thought I saw some screenshots where they do eventually turn into a cockroach.
Okay.
It's just like cockroach body, but human face. And I'd heard the same thing that you did, which is it always ends with you having to kill your boyfriend, which
With using
completely
Earth
healthy.
Corporation products. So
That's right. Nothing,
that's where the shilling comes in. But I
nothing
love this
unhealthy
idea.
about it.
I love that they got Yuki Kaji to voice all 4 of the love interests.
I think it's going to be way more popular than we think. And it just when you thought Japan couldn't come up with something as asinine as they've already done, they keep producing and giving us the gift of content to talk about. So God bless them.
Yes, God bless them indeed. So that's it for that news story. If anybody actually does end up playing the game, feel free to let us know on our Discord, because we'd be really interested to know what you think of it. Otaku, what do you got?
So I don't know if you have ever seen any of the Fatal Fury movies from the 90s.
I can't say
It's
I have.
it's based off of a fighting game, which is from the company SNK, and they had what's called the Art of Fighting games. And so, entertainment news website The Hollywood Reporter has reported that the Arena production studio, which was formerly known as Arena SNK, is developing what is going to be called the Southtown Saga, a series of media adaptations based on the Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting game franchises. The planned adaptations include live action film, a webtoon, and new animated series. So the Fatal Fury movies were kind of important in that they were somewhat of gateway animes, because when anime was really starting to become available in the States, like at Blockbuster, some of the first movies you could ever rent were the Fatal Fury movies and OVAs. And there are a lot of video games that have been produced. I think Art of Fighting has well over 20 different versions out there now, but also one of the most cosplayed and early waifus of anime was Mai Shiranui from this franchise. She is your typical, very talented martial artist who wears next to nothing and has unreasonably large breasts. I know you're shocked, Caroline. So
What?
if you need
Unreasonable.
an AED or some sort of heart medicine, let me know. But anyways, they are developing a live action film, Geese, which tells the origin story of Geese Howard, who is the main antagonist in the franchise series. Grant Singer, who wrote the Reptile movie, is writing the script and will direct the film. And the film will star a younger and different version of Geese from the Fatal Fury series. He's actually a pretty good antagonist as far as anime villains go. The film is intended to be Southtown Saga's answer to DC's Joker movie. So it could be pretty psychological and a bit disturbing. I would assume, since it's a fighting franchise, it would be very dark and violent. So it could be a very interesting watch. But the big news is, and my friends and I, we all watched the Fatal Fury movies and OVAs numerous times because there wasn't much to watch when it first came out. So now we're finally getting more animated projects from the Fatal Fury franchise. And if it's one thing that I think anime has strayed away from recently, is good, straight up, just fighting anime or anime that are based off of fighting games. We just haven't had much. So the main heroes of the franchise are Terry and Andy Bogard. They're brothers, and this series is going to focus on their formative years, where they look for vocation and training, and their paths eventually converge again with the same goal for vengeance. One is driven by fury, and the other by discipline. So if you think it's Street Fighter coded like Ken and Ryu, it is. It very much is Street Fighter coded. So I know that there are a lot of SNK fans that are looking forward to this, and there's a lot of people in my age bracket who grew up watching the OVAs and movies that are pretty excited for this. So keep your eyes out for the World of Fatal Fury coming soon.
Thank you for bringing in some anime that I've never heard about before.
And you probably will never have to watch it unless somebody gets an auto pass or the viewers vote it to us once it finally does air.
What, you mean you can't put it on impressions?
I think it will make impressions. So you'll probably do a 3-episode toe dip in the water. But I don't know. Have you ever watched any like true fighting, just like battle style fighting anime that you were like, yes, this is awesome?
I don't know. I don't know what counts. Like, I have watched like fighting anime, but I wouldn't say that they were like just like a typical action, genre. I'm not sure if it
Yeah.
follows the same kind of style as what you're talking about.
I mean, it's just fight like combat. People develop, special moves, and there's inevitably a big bad that everybody converges to fight. It's very, very formulaic, but the characters are what kind of make the show.
All right. Well, I think we are ready to head into our main topic for today, which I
I think
am
so.
pretty excited to do. I think this will be a really fun discussion. Red hot flag romances. So,
Mm.
red hot romance, red flags. I thought I did very well with the wordplay here.
I think you did very, very well. Have you ever seen the red flag, green flag guy on TikTok who kind of
Yes.
reacts to videos out there, and he'll hold up one or the other based on what he sees?
And he just running through a field with
Yes,
the
he's running
flags.
through a field with the
Yes,
massive
I'm
flag.
familiar.
Oh, I love that content. So when you told me what the topic was going to be, I just had this image of Caroline running through the Twitch screen with a massive flag.
Oh, I was fresh out of flags, but that's always an idea. So just to further explain what we're talking about today, me and Otaku, we both really love our romance anime. But
We
let's
do.
be honest, despite that love, a lot of tropes and OTPs would have the brightest red flags in real life. So we will be discussing some of our favorite tropes in couples that might be super hot and romantic in anime, but would be problematic for all sorts of reasons outside of anime. And if Otaku thinks that legal action should be involved because he is a real-life detective, we'll discuss that too.
Absolutely.
All right. So I just rattled off a ton of tropes that I could think of with a little bit of help from our anime club because we had time before we started up on Wednesday. So I'm like, hey guys, what do you think are some red flags that I should discuss on the show? And so most of these I came up with myself, but there were a couple thrown in there with some help. The first one that I thought of, which was an obvious thing I have to put on there because I thought it just so clearly encapsulated something that is really hot in anime but would be really uncomfortable in real life, is the kabedon. And you know what it is if you don't know the name for it. It is the move where a character traps the other one by aggressively slamming their hand or arm against a wall right next to the other person's head, creating close quarters and also saying you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Otaku, if you saw that in real life, would you be concerned?
Yes, for many, many reasons. Because unfortunately, doing what I have done, I can see I have literally been taking police reports and arresting people for when things go entirely too far into left field. So, Kabedon is, some people are into that. Like, some people are into the psychological intimidation, and they like that feeling of that little essence of fear mixed in with the romance. Uh, all of them need psychological help, first of all. Fear should never be a part of romance, but that's neither here nor there. It would, bare minimum, give you grounds as, let's say, a young Caroline was in high school and a person approached you and basically got you to the point you could not move from your space and slammed their hand next to your head to be like, I really like you.
Ooh!
That would definitely be grounds for you to file for some sort of restraining order. Bare minimum.
But what if he's a
Bare
PK
minimum.
man?
I don't think it matters. That's absolutely reasonable grounds for a restraining order. Now, if it's welcome, it really does. Intent and response matter. So if you are like, you know, totally into it and you're like, I don't mind this person being this close to me, I'm cool with it, then it's not criminal. Your response bears just as much relevance as the intent of the person. Like if they just think that you'll be into it and they want to get close to you, but there's no intent to harm, because that's what you have to prove. Is there criminal intent
Right.
to intimidate or harm somebody? Or is this just the only way their brain lets them express that I'm interested in you? So I'm going to slam my hand next to your head and be like, hey, girl, I think you're hot. And you're like, why is your hand next to my face?
We got to go to
this?
school. We got a class.
No, math's about to start. What are we doing?
Yeah. I think the safest bet here is that if you are already in a relationship and you're just looking to spice things up, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that familiarity, like how well you know somebody, certainly matters too. But I wouldn't recommend this being the first move to express interest in a person, or else I might be visiting you in a very different way. Just saying.
All right. Do you want to bring up another one that you want to talk about?
Yes. Do you want to just go in order, or do you want me to talk about some of the ones that I added?
Pick and choose whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. So this is a red flag for me that I added towards the bottom. And I tried to see if there's an official terminology for this, but I couldn't find one. So we're going to talk about the giant man and tiny girl trope.
Oh, no. Come on.
Listen, I have an almost foot height difference with my wife. She is barely scratching the surface of 5 feet, and I'm just under 6 feet. So I kind of like, I can relate to this a little bit, but when it's animated, it just looks so creepy. Like,
On top of the fact,
for
it's not
example,
just a short woman. They
no, they
frequently
make her
make
look
them
like a
look
child.
like children.
They make them look like elementary schoolers. Like, there is probably the best example of recency is My Tiny Senpai. My God, we're supposed to believe that this is a woman in her 20s,
But I love that
and
show.
no, it's adorable, but just the physics alone give me great pause. Like, imagining the future for those two, I, it, it I don't
Don't
really know
imagine too
what
much.
it. I'm just saying, I understand that Japan likes things to be kawaii, and one of my wife and mine's favorite animes is My Love Story, which is very similar to that. Like, you have a massive. The guy's supposed to be in high school, and he looks like he should be wrestling in New Japan Wrestling, like as a sumo wrestler almost. And she is literally the same size as my tiny senpai. And I hate people will probably not be happy about this, but the fragrant flower that
I
blooms
was thinking the same thing.
also
I
falls
know,
into
I
this trope.
know.
And there's nothing wrong with having a height difference with your partner at all. It's just the way that it's animated in anime, it kind of gives an unhealthy power dynamic, and it's always a very somewhat submissive female in addition to the giant man. It definitely is red flaggish in a way, and I let me say, love love My Love Story, love Fragrant Flower. I think they're great stories, but because the size difference is so focused on at times, it just gives me great fear for the female at times. What do you think about this? Like, what are your feelings about giant man, tiny girl?
I try not to think about it too much because, like, I don't mind it all so much, except for when they go out of their way to make the girl look like a child. And that goes into, like, a whole other thing that, we don't even need to talk about because everybody knows. Like, it's just weird. And then accentuated by the fact that the man looks like he is a giant. So, um,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
the most annoying thing for me in anime because again, a lot of these tropes are things that we actively, we watch and we like. It's just thinking about it in a real life context that gives it a little bit of, you know.
One other good example that I know a lot of people love, including myself, would be Beastars,
Oh
because
yeah, and that one
Legoshi is a literal wolf
and
who at any moment could
romancing a
devour.
literal rabbit. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that one in particular is a little even stranger than most. Should we move on to another point?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I think this one is like not just even in anime, it's just every romance that people go crazy for is when a partner is so jealous to the point where their romantic interest can't even talk to anybody from the opposite sex without them doing like some sort of death stare or like saying like don't you dare make moves on my girl or my boy or whatever it is.
Hmm.
It's excessive sometimes. And I will get into it more in a little bit because we're going to talk about OTPs. But one that I often think about in this context, especially because it is like oftentimes, a boy to other boys, it's Hori from Hori Mia. She is insane about when Miyamura talks to other girls. It's I fear for everybody else when Hori gets upset in that show.
Yeah. The funny thing is she gets that way too with Miyamura's one guy friend.
Oh my god, I
And there's like
forgot.
a couple of jokes thrown in there where she's like legitimately concerned that he's gonna leave her for him.
It's
And what is his name?
I can't remember because he's also like, it doesn't seem like Miyamura really likes his friend either, which is kind of funny.
Not at all. Like he gives them all the candies that are like bitter or sour when they're going through that bag of candies. He gives them the worst tasting ones.
Yeah. But then there's
Um,
that girl that started following them around, and Hori got pissed, even though she's like 2 years younger than them, and looks, she's like, like pretty young compared to them, and she gives the impression that she's interested in Miyamura, and Hori is about to kill this girl until it's revealed that she's actually obsessed with Hori. And then she's like, oh my gosh.
I thought it was hilarious too because I wasn't expecting that at first.
Yeah.
But then when they made it, the fact that she was into Hori and the fact that she and Miyamura are neighbors, it just added extra comedic element to it all. But
And then she kind of
let's
becomes
be
their daughteru, you know?
it really reminded me of almost Sword Art Online when
Oh, Yui.
Asuna and Kirito adopt their little digital daughter. That's what it reminded me of.
Uh-huh.
But this is a precursor behavior to stalking. Let's be clear. It's okay for your partner to talk to people of the other sex. If you find yourself being very enraged just by this person you like speaking to other people, seek help immediately because those stories usually end up as a documentary on Netflix later.
Yeah. But again, it's something that isn't so many romance anime books, TV shows, etc. because people like it still, even though it is a bit weird.
I think the reason why we like it so much is because it's almost always used for comedy rather than to demonstrate intensity. Like I genuinely had to rack my brain because I couldn't think of the last anime that I watched where somebody had that like unhealthy attachment to the point that, if their crush or significant other talked to other people, it actually did turn violent and people got hurt as a result of it. It's almost always used as a comedic trope and to just emphasize how into somebody they are.
Yeah.
So,
And
can you think of anything where the last anime that we watched where there was like an unhealthy attachment to the point that people actually
not
end up being harmed?
not to the point like because I don't think it ever really crosses the line into being harmful, because then that turns dark, and romances are supposed to be light even if they are showing off some really red flag behavior.
Mhm.
And it's not a show that we watched on the podcast, but it is a show that I have talked about because I did watch it myself. It's A Condition Called Love. And if you are looking for a show that showcases the most the most amount of red flags you could possibly fit into one show, and it still ends up being a quote unquote cute romance, that is the show to watch. It is insane the things that this boy is and does, and yet they are still like, I put cute romance in quotation marks because it is more of a vibe than it is your opinion of something. Like, because they're that's what they're trying to make. That's the anime they're trying to make, is that this is an actual cute romance, but at every turn, I'm like getting the heebie-jeebies from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. And there was the one from last season too that was supposed to be, what the hell? I'm trying to
Hanakimi
think.
or Clear
The one with
Moonlit
the
Dusk or something.
Moonlit Dusk.
Yeah, yeah.
Moonlit Dusk. Holy hell. Talk
Listen,
about red flags aplenty.
a Condition
Um,
Calls Love trumps Moonlit Dusk. I think you should give it a try. Just a couple episodes, just because I want to know what your thoughts are about it. But I totally agree. Clear Moonlit Dusk has to be one of the more popular ones that I just watched, and I'm thinking to myself, this feels so wrong.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if we can move on to another similar point, just because it is fairly similar. Clinginess or quote unquote protectiveness to the point of isolation. And again, this is very well documented in a condition called love. Because, similar with the jealousy thing, it's just the character being so attached to their romantic interest that they are afraid if they are out of sight or if they are not giving them as much attention as they feel like they should, suddenly it's a situation,
Yes. I mean, there are tons of examples in anime of this. And again, a lot of these are just elements of stalking. It like criminal stalking is actually very hard to prove, and it makes me feel bad for genuine victims of it because you can certainly establish a pattern of possessiveness, protectiveness, clinginess through text messages and things of that nature. But when you start following people places, which happens in so many anime, the whole like, I'm going to put on this outfit to disguise myself and I'm going to watch my, crush or person of interest go do things. And it's like, oh, I'm with this other female friend of mine because I wanted her opinion to buy this gift for my girlfriend.
That in itself is so stupid. When was the last time that you ever invited out another woman to pick out a gift for your wife?
Never. But I also have this very uncanny ability of listening and retaining information.
Listening to your spouse? No.
Communication. It's wild how beneficial that can be in a healthy green flag coded relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can't think of like, let's say that I thought somebody was cheating and I was gonna go observe. Not at no point would I throw on some crazy outfit, a fake mustache and sunglasses and trail them like a little creeper.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. But it's always, and again, this clinginess and protectiveness, I feel like is always, I'd say 95% of the time, a comedic element to just emphasize how into the other person it is. But
And then
it's
I
definitely
think,
something that's so prevalent.
and I think going back to the Hori and Miyamura example, because they, as good of a romance it is chock full of this stuff. I think Miyamura also got very much like this with Hori.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and there was like I did watch Tamun-kun's B-side recently, and I really do like that show, but there are some moments where I'm just thinking to myself, this is crossing some lines.
I mean, he is definitely clingy, protective of her.
Wait, you've seen
And
Tamun?
oh yeah, I watched it from start to finish.
Because yeah,
Come on now.
I was
I am
thinking
your
like
partner in rom-coms. If you've seen it, there's a probably better than 9 out of 10 chance that I've seen it. And I think this particular point that you're making to the point of isolation, like if it wasn't for her, Tamun is pretty much a hikikomori.
Yeah.
Outside of having to go outside for his job, his only socialization is when she comes to clean his apartment. So naturally, he's going to be attached to her because she's the only other human he really interacts with outside of his job.
Yeah. And I really did really like Tamun. It's just it got weird in the middle. Did you also think that?
I did get very weird in the
Like
middle.
the moment they start making really lighthearted jokes about committing suicide, I'm like, no.
It's I don't know. For some reason, a lot of reverse harem shows like that tend to be a little darker for some reason. Like when you think about good, genuine reverse harem shows, not a lot of them tend to be like lighthearted and, yes, it follows the tropes, but there's, on the whole, it's rather light. It's not like 100 girlfriends who really, really love you. That's complete. You can literally pick one girlfriend from and one of them will fall into our points. But again, for humor, I thought that Tamon's B-side was a little dark.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the jokes about the suicide were like, but none of the attachments that the guys had for her, I thought were healthy in a way. And
No.
I don't know, maybe it's because they're all in this competing idol group and they're battling for the top spot, but it just came across as a bit dark and creepy at
Yeah.
times.
Even though,
So
again, there were things to enjoy about it that is it's just
yeah,
one of
yeah,
those
it's
things.
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's just like, ooh, I don't know about that. Like, just like with a lot of the shows we've already mentioned, there are pockets of the show where you're like, ooh, where's my red flag? I need to
Yeah.
wave it here at this particular instance.
You want to pick another one?
Yes. So another one that I added in to the genres that I think is very red flag coded is when they make the mothers look like children. Like when you
Yeah.
go into the home setting and the daughter, the actual character that the show is focused on, or the side character, and then you meet their mother. And you just look at it and you're like, this is supposed to be a mother. Like you've had children. I think there's no better example than probably a pretty decent red flag anime is Toradora.
It's been so long since I forgot what the mother looked like.
Oh, just Google it real quick and look up his mom, and you'll see it, and you'll be like, "What in the actual f am I looking at?" But it's a trope that's been used a couple of times.
Yeah,
They
seriously.
meet the mom, and they literally their mother looks like a child, and you're just thinking to yourself, I understand it's a cartoon, but you're supposed to have a 16-year-old child. You look like you're 10. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah. And then there's 100 Girlfriends, which they do
Uh-huh.
address to a certain extent. And she does end up becoming his girlfriend. So it's not like they even care about how bad that looks. So there's definitely that one.
Yeah, they lean into that pretty hard, and then to a lesser extent, you could make like a slash that moms that look like children slash the same age as their daughter. And what is the Uzaki-chan anime? I don't know if you watched that to
No,
its conclusion.
I don't think I
I
watched that at
finished
all,
it.
actually.
Yeah, the Uzaki-chan anime is like she and her mother could be sisters, and you would have no idea who was the older one. And it is a rom com, but it's filled with the kind of etchy oopses and things that are a big turnoff for a lot of true rom com aficionados. Things
Mm.
where you're just like, you know what, this I don't need to finish this. I finished it just because I wanted to see where it went, but moms looking like kids or the same age as their children, it is very problematic
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways, and it begs a question of the father involved for sure. There would be a lot of child protective service phone calls made if I came across that household in my profession. A lot of investigating would need to be done to be like, wait, so you're the mom and you're the math ain't mathin'.
Yeah.
So when the math doesn't math, that's a big red flag.
Mm-hmm. Next is something that, again, I eat up. I'm eating it up when I'm watching a romance show. It
Can I
is
guess?
persistent flirting with obviously uninterested people.
Mm,
Because you know the obviously uninterested person is probably going to come around to it when she sees or he sees that the person trying to get after them is an absolute snack. But, and this goes with the Kabedon thing, it's so inappropriate when you know the person does not want to engage with you, that you're going to keep trying to the point of being creepy about it. And I can say this is well documented from the Apothecary Diaries. Even though, again, you just eat it up. Any follow up from that, Otaku?
No, for sure. So there was actually an anime from, I want to say it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. Um, I think it's The Dreaming Boy is a Realist, where he is actually becomes aware of just how inappropriate his behavior is. And he would ask this girl out every single day, and she would just be like, no, no. And they are childhood friends, but he would ask her out, and she was just, no, no, no. And then he just realizes, like, you know what? This isn't healthy for anybody. And then he stops. And the girl, after feigning disinterest for so long, is just like, why are you stopping your interest in me all of a sudden? Like, she acts disinterested the whole time, and then all of a sudden he stops, and it kind of does this 180 where she's like, well, where's the attention you gave me?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, at first I
it
thought, oh, I didn't watch this, but then you started explaining. I'm like, wait a minute, I did watch 2 episodes of this for impressions.
it finishes well.
It got a
And
6.62 on Mal, so
yeah, and what is it? What's the anime that had it had like a season almost like 8 or 9 years ago, and then just like the other year, it got its second season. Masame-kun's Revenge.
uh-huh.
That that also kind of, when you said persistent flirting with obviously uninterested people, like he lost all his weight just to get revenge, and so he turns himself into a total Chad just to try to mess with the girl that broke his heart, and then he ends up falling for her anyway.
Mhm.
So what would you say is your favorite example of the persistent flirting
Oh,
side?
I don't know. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head except for the Apothecary Diaries, and I feel like there's a better
Mhm.
example. Um, but yeah, so
That definitely evolves over time,
right.
especially the frog incident from the most recent season was hilarious
Oh
though.
God,
It
so good.
I love that show. I will apologize for that show till the day ends. From sunup to sundown, I will be an Apothecary Diaries apologist.
hmm I think maybe we should quickly run through what we have left on this list and then get into our second half of this topic.
Yes.
So anything else that we did not mention, I put down tsunderes for obvious reasons. As much as we
Mhm.
love the Soons, a tsundere in real life is not a catch. I can fix him, quote unquote, that whole trope.
Yeah,
You don't want to have to fix your romantic partner if they're not willing to put in the work themselves.
correct.
Slavery, not something I enjoy, but I wanted to add in onto this list because for some reason they love to have a slavery trope in romance coded stuff. The bad boy, not too bad, as long as they are, they kind of like similar with the I can fix him thing, but the generic bad boy is, it's not the worst thing on this list, but certainly not something you want to emulate in real life.
No.
And love polygons. Yeah, that goes without saying. If you are a person in a relationship and or your romantic interest is romantically interested in somebody else as well, they're probably not a catch. All right. So now we have some OTPs that probably should not be together in real life. First up, I did put down Hori and Miyamura because we mentioned them a couple times. I love Hori Mia. I love
Me
them
too.
together in anime. If I were to see a couple like Hori and Miyamura in real life, I would be afraid for their future relationship and possibly children that they brought into that relationship.
I appreciate on the notes document that you added a giant sad face to this
I had to.
because
I needed to make it clear that I don't love putting them on this list, but it's the truth.
yeah, I have a relationship further down the list that falls into that for me, but I too am a huge Horimiya fan. I own both of the seasons, and as much as I love the show and how it touches on a lot of kind of more mature topics, they are definitely at times very unhealthy for each other. Now, there is a lot of balance with that where you see how they both better each other as partners. But when you see them interacting, especially with Hori's proclivities towards being dominated, you can definitely want to see some caution. Like, and it's hilarious when they do it in the school setting, like the first time where he actually does it in public and it turns her on, but everybody around them is like, oh my God, did he just call her a bitch? Like, yes, that would definitely give me pause if I saw it in public.
Yeah. I also put on this list Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon.
Yes.
I know that they are reincarnated intergalactic lovers from another time, but come on. She's in middle school. He's in college. That is fucking weird. And I've been trying not to cuss lately, but it is effing weird.
No, you're on 100% correct. It is so inappropriate. It's so weird. There's more red flags to that than you could possibly have. And I understand it is a beloved franchise. It's a very beloved dynamic, but on the surface, Tuxedo Mask would already be in jail a million times over for his behavior, if you will.
Like, what interest should you have in this child?
There's nothing that they can have in common. On the list that you created, let's talk about Naofumi and Raftalia, because this is a triple-decker problem.
So many problems. Even though I watched Shield Hero, I'm like, oh my God, I love those two together. And then you have to remind yourself of the details of their relationship with each other.
Yes, let's start with the most obvious problem: the slave master. This is probably shining example number one for the slavery trope. That's not good. Our co-host Andrew could probably do an entire episode on why he hates Shield Hero, with this being at the top of the list. But then you also get into the age dynamics. Like, yes, she evolves like a damn Pokemon, but at the same time, I think physically her age might be 8, 9, maybe. And so there's just a lot of issues. And to Naofumi's credit, he has really never crossed any lines. But just on the surface, that whole relationship is just woof. Yeah.
See, and there was like an easy way to kind of alleviate some of the uncomfortableness that the whole thing creates. It's by, I don't know, letting Raftalia remove the slave feature of their relationship. There was no reason for her to stay enslaved when they offered this story an out of that. In fact, I think it would have strengthened their relationship even more if they no longer had a slave contract and they could move forward as mature people, and Naofumi realizing that he can trust people to be on his side without a system forcing them to be on it. It's just so bad.
Yeah. It's you're 100% right. But the thing that kills me is it's like, how can we demonstrate how loyal Raftalia is to Naofumi? Well, obviously, entering into voluntary slavery is the only answer.
Why not let it be voluntarily dedicating your life to his cause? No, it must be slavery.
Okay.
Next on this
I want
list,
you to
sorry, go ahead.
I want you to do your Dangers in My Heart one, because I understand, but I want to hear why they're on your list, because I am a Dangers in My Heart apologist. So
am.
please.
I love it. I love the Dangers in My Heart. I love Ichikawa. I love Yamada. And very similarly with Horimiya, this is more of, I have to put them on this list because if this were to happen in real life, this would be a problem. It's just the fact that Ichikawa's first inclination towards this romantic interest is to literally murder her. I know he's grown from that. And I know he has now realized that what he was feeling was not murderous intent, but more of a crush. If that is your first belief, I don't think that a future romantic relationship should be in the cards.
Okay. I can't argue with your point. However, the show absolutely separates itself from that very quickly and just moves into teenagers figuring out their feelings for one another.
Right.
The only thing that you could consider to be a little weird is just like Yamada looks like a 21-year-old model.
Right.
And Ichikawa looks like a 5-year-old kid. And it's a weird dynamic where you would say like, what does she see in him exactly? But I still love them and I will die defending their relationship. But I'm with you. The way it started was absolutely not healthy. Like you would almost like Ichikawa, if he lived in the United States, probably would have turned into a school shooter. I'm just saying.
Possibly. At the very least, he needed intense therapy before he jumps into a obviously he's not jumping into a romantic relationship, but before I just feel like he needs some therapy. That's all.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna do one that's gonna hurt my feelings to do, but it needs to be addressed. And that's gonna be Rudius and all of his wives.
And all of his wives.
I know I love this franchise. I have read every light novel, I have read the sequels, I have watched every episode. But the one thing that you cannot do is defend it. The stuff that happens between Rudius and his 3 wives is just something you have to accept. You cannot defend it. Aside from the fact that mentally Rudius is a 43-year-old man, let's talk about our problems. We have his first wife. We have our best elf girl. She is, I think, 15 when he takes her virginity and they get married. Eris was, I think, 11 or 12 when they had sex the first time.
This is so uncomfortable.
And Roxy is your eternal lolly who's stuck in her forever youthful body. And that's another trope that we could have added to our red flags is anytime you have an ancient being who doesn't age and they get involved with a child, a legal child, that's in itself a problem. So yes, Mushoku Tensei, great show, very cool isekai. You can't deny the inappropriate dynamics of that franchise though.
Yeah. Another romantic thing on this list is Futaro and any of the quintuplets from the quintessential quintuplets. You can say, oh, it ends well. I'm like, yeah, I guess. But the thing is that if you have a man and he is trying to pick between you and your identical sisters, that's a problem. How are you supposed to fall in love with a man who does not know if he can love you more than any of your sisters? And then by the end of the series, spoiler, he does marry one of them. All the other sisters are going, well, we're coming on the honeymoon. I'm like, you're coming on the what?
So I actually saw the movie in theaters when it came out. Without spoiling which one he does marry, how did you feel about his ultimate choice? Like, did it make any sense to you at all?
On its face, not really, because I had my choice, and yeah, but I mean, I suppose it works out as well as any other. And at this point, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm just glad that none of the girls murdered each other at the end of this.
It almost seemed like it settled where he married one in name, but he's actually married to all four
Yeah,
of them.
this is the definition of sister wives.
It is very much the definition of sister wives. And you think about their connection. I mean, yes, it evolves over time, but it's only because he was their tutor. Like, I don't. I liked the show. I thought it was sweet at times, and I liked the characters, but the ending just made no sense to me.
Yeah. Want to throw out another one?
Yes. Another one that gives me my super big sad, and I think it goes without saying, Rama and Akane from Rama One Half. You both need to separate immediately. They both would have been arrested dozens of times over for domestic assault. And you could argue, because I don't know how much Ranma you've watched, either from
None.
the original or the updates, but there are side characters that kind of come into the picture that are clearly better for both of them. Like, yes, I love Ranma and Akane, and I want them to be married and happily ever after. But their relationship is so unhealthy because it literally is just a back and forth of them getting jealous at the other for the other people in their lives. And when they are together, it is Akane just beating the absolute piss out of Ranma for insert dumb shit that he's done here. It is the textbook definition of an unhealthy relationship.
Mm.
And as much as it pains me, I need them to separate immediately.
Yeah. One relationship that could do better with less separation, because why would you be married in this fashion? Sasuke and Sakura from Naruto. Moving past all the obvious reasons of, Sasuke literally tried to kill Sakura on more than one occasion and has made it clear that he was far more interested in revenge than having any meaningful relationship in his life. He's grown from that. All right. Maybe they formed a much more meaningful relationship after the end of Naruto, and that's why they end up getting married. I know that there's not light novels are like just like epilogue arcs that I haven't read myself. So give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they got cuter, but I did watch some of Boruto, and I'm like, where the hell is Sasuke? And how is he married to Sakura? And why is it that his daughter has barely any idea who he is? And it's like Sakura is just waiting on the very basic foundations of a relationship. A date, a kiss on the cheek, perhaps, being home with your child.
A sliver of affection. Just a sliver.
A sliver. I did not really pick up on basic romantic interest from Sasuke. It seemed like this was just like, well, Sakura's all right, so I might as well shack up with her kind of thing.
All right, and then we've got one more on the list, and it's gonna be Violet and Gilbert. So I know you put that one on the list.
Yes.
State your case.
All right, so this is just based on the first season of Violet Evergarden because I actually did not see the movie for reasons I'm not going to state here because if you know what I'm talking about, you know. Gilbert is like her father. He found a mute, violent child and trained her in the military, trained her in murdering other people. And I know he felt bad about it. And he tried to treat her with kindness, much more than most other people did at the time. Taught her how to, do basic things as a human. Yeah, that's your daughter. That is your daughter figure. And you're her father figure. And I could see why Violet might have some affections for Gilbert, given that she is a child and is only just kind of understanding love amongst other basic things that a human feels. Gilbert, you have no excuse. You are in your 30s. This is a teenager in her early teens, in the fact, just learning how to read. You need to create a boundary before you die. There you have it.
I agree. I think the biggest problem with that whole dynamic is definitely the age gap. I think, what did they say? The actual math, he was like, I think 25 and Violet was 10 when they first met. So it's just like, oh, that's nasty.
And like kind of following in line with the whole slavery thing, because she's not technically a slave, but in all intents and purposes, she is his dog. And she will do anything he says. So
Yeah.
just all that together, unhealthy if it were to work out. All right. And there you have it. We've certainly made ourselves sound like we are the least fans of romance in the romance fandom here.
I know. But I think we also defended ourselves. We stated our cases in both ways. Like, we acknowledge the problem, but we still love the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So we will maintain our title holders as the co-hosts on this podcast that love anime the most. But we can also be smart enough to say, yeah, maybe this wasn't appropriate or kosher.
Yeah. But I thought that was fun. And people
I
can
did
feel free to continue the conversation on Discord with us. Are we ready for the trivia question for this week?
I think we are. So this week's in-show weekly trivia question. The manga creator of You and I Are Polar Opposites has another manga that has an anime adaptation, and it's currently airing. What is its name? Find out when we get back from the break.
Hey Anime Addicts, it's Caroline and I have your anime news break here. It has been announced that the Girls Last Tour manga is getting a prologue series. Manga creator Sukumizu will be launching the new series titled A Collection of Fragments from Mega City on June 26th. This collection of short stories is set in the same world as Girls Last Tour, where the title city is a giant stratified metropolis built by mankind with advanced technology soaring into the skies. Each layer of the city is a log of life, slicing through the various eras of the world as it heads towards its final end. If you enjoyed Girls Last Tour and want to see more of its world, then this new manga might be for you. Next up, we have more manga news with Naoki Urasawa's launching of a new series on August 12th. You may know Urasawa from previous works like 20th Century Boys, 21st Century Boys, Monster, and Pluto. This new project is called The Final Manga Classroom, and the announcement included this teaser. It said that we've entered an era of convenience, but even in inconvenient times, there were some things that sparkled because they took time to hone with two hands. To realize this, we must have an awareness to return to the past from time to time. Not much else is known about this new series, but coming from a manga creator as prolific as Naoki Urasawa, you might want to be on the lookout for this one. Now we have some movie news. G-Kids has announced that it will screen director Baku Kinoshita and writer Kazuya Konomoto's original anime film, The Last Blossom in the West, on August 30th and 31st. The synopsis is about Akutsu, a former yakuza, who is serving life in prison after a middling career in the underworld. On the night he lays dying in his cell, he reminisces with his only companion, a smart-mouthed flower growing out of a can, about the choices that brought him here, the woman he loved, and a child that he would give everything to protect. Is redemption out of reach? Kinoshita and Konomoto previously collaborated on the 2021 anime Odd Taxi, so this movie sounds pretty promising. Look forward to August 30th and 31st to see it in theaters. And lastly, a little something for the Apothecary Diaries fans. The property's first ever browser game, called The Apothecary Diaries Palace Chronicles, is launching on June 15th. It is an online simulation game where you play as Mao Mao, navigating various incidents that unfold around the Imperial Court and the Pleasure District. The game features over 35 characters, including Jinshi, Gaoshun, Gyokuyo, Xiaolan, and Shisui. The game is accessible on smartphones, tablets, and PCs with no app download required, and players can switch seamlessly between devices. If you're ready to step into Mao Mao's shoes, you can look forward to this new game. And that's your news break for this week. Let's head back to the main show.
In a world full of misinformation, AI deepfakes, and make-believe BS.
We thought you'd appreciate an update straight from the source.
Sure, times are tough, but there's hope.
Shonen Showdown is still standing, and our mission remains the same.
To rot your brain with the power of friendship.
The anime landscape is changing by the day, but we'll keep adapting.
And we appreciate your loyalty.
So keep listening, and keep the faith.
Good things come to those who wait.
Only Shonen Showdown.
On the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast.
We had an in-show weekly trivia question. The manga creator of You and I Are Polar Opposites has another manga that has an anime adaptation also currently airing. What is its name? What is it, Otaku?
The answer is on Netflix, and it is called The Ramparts of Ice.
Yes, and we'll also be reviewing that one at some point. I've heard good things, so I'm excited.
That's right.
And
But before-
also, I think we got a comment on Twitch saying, just happy, no Maid-sama problems in our main topic today. I have not seen Maid-sama, otherwise I probably would have said something about it. What about you, Otaku?
Yeah, that one is a little. Yes, you could wave the red flag at some of the stuff in that, but it is a great rom-com, and I'll defend that show too.
Oh,
For
that's
sure.
nice to hear, though.
It's
I'll defend
time
it.
for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
All right. So you too can submit a mailbag by going to our website at AAAPodcast.com. Click the mailbag button, just like Endless Broccoli Bowls did. And they wrote to us, "Sup, dudes and gals. With all of the anime coverage that the podcast does, I've been sort of curious on a specific subject, that being anime OP and ED song sequences. Are there any anime OPs that have stuck with you even till today, whether they were so musically fantastic or purely unique? An OP that has stuck with me to the point that I can recall the piano melody of the song is that of No Game, No Life. 10 out of 10 OP to a questionably sus anime. Highly questionably sus anime. That is accurate. Same question for any anime ED songs. An easy one for me based off of recency bias would be the cute city animation ED. However, Konosuba's chill, folksy-like ED warms my heart too. Fate Apocrypha's ED is so melancholic in contrast to the grim action in the show. Then there's also the heavy rock Screamo ED to Psychopaths Season 2 that adds something awesome to a season that was so terrible. Dig deep and let us know, AAA Podcast. Catch you on the flip side, dudes."
I have a
You want
lot
to start us
say.
off?
I have so much, because I love anime openings and endings. So there was just too many to really make this answer brief. So I decided to forget it. Just say whatever I want. All right, so here's a shout out to some that have stood out to me in particular. The Erased OP by Asian Kung Fu Generation. It actively got me listening to Japanese music for the first time. It was kind of like finally ripping the Band-Aid off and actually putting Japanese music on my playlist, and that song was one of the first. And just like in terms of the opening, it's a great example of an evolving OP, so that one is just really good. This one is random, but Happy Sugar Life stands out to me because I thought it was such a good opening for how trashy the anime was. Tokyo Ghoul Route A's ED is in a similar vein. A terrible show in so many ways, but the ED was the only good thing that came out of it. There's also the ED to Komi Can't Communicate Season 2, which I really liked and listened to the song very often, even though I've only watched 2 episodes from that season, so it was just the ending that stuck with me on that one. Lightning Round, Dororo's first OP, Link Click's first OP, Skullface Bookseller Honda-san's ED, Migi and Dali's ED, everything from Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, and finally the OP to You and I Are Polar Opposites. Go ahead, Otaku.
Certified bangers. I think between all of our recommendations, once this segment is done, we could actually have a hell of a banger playlist.
Yeah.
So being an older anime fan, I'm going to drop a super deep cut for my personal best OP of all time, which belongs to Record of Lotus War, Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. The song itself is an absolute perfect partner to the epic fantasy that's being animated during the intro. The opening theme for it is titled Kiseki no Umi, which is Sea of Miracles. It is sung by the Japanese voice actress and singer Maya Sakamoto, and it still gives me chills every time that I actually watch it, because you can listen to it on its own, and it's a beautiful song, lots of harmonizing and lots of different instruments that make it a special song. But when you pair it up with the actual animation footage that they drew just for the opening, it's so well done. It's like the perfect partner between song and story. So if you have never listened to this or seen it, I recommend just going to YouTube, type in, Kiseki no Umi or Lotus War Chronicles of Heroic Knight opening. I promise you it will become one of your favorite songs. My favorite ED, and this does suffer from some recency bias as well, but I will die on this hill, that the song Destiny, which was the Clevites closing song, and sung by Ellie Goulding. It came out of left field for me. I didn't know anything about this song, and the first time anybody ever heard it was after episode 1 of Clevites. And when you heard the lyrics, you were like, why do I know that voice? You're like, that's Ellie Goulding. What the hell? Because it was English, and I was expecting something different. But it is a fire closing.
Yeah, I didn't know that she did an anime song.
She did. I was just so taken aback because at first I was like, wow, this person's English is really good. And then I heard the way that the singer was singing, and I was like, I know this voice. And I looked it up, and sure enough, I was like, that's Ellie Goulding. Holy shit. Yeah. It's a very strong closing song, though.
Didn't
and then My Lightning Round.
Something for Kaiju number 8? They did like the ED, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So strange.
I don't know. I think there's probably more otakus in the mainstream now than ever before. So nothing surprises me anymore between artists and athletes who come out saying that they're anime fans. My lightning round goes to The Rumbling from Attack on Titan. That is in my gym playlist. Guess Who Is Back from Black Clover. Gorenge from Demon Slayer. Killer Kiss from Marriage Toxin. I love that opening. And then Caroline, one that is precious to both you and me. Iro Kusui from Horimiya.
Very nice. All right. I say it's time for our review for today. You and I are polar opposites. Let's see here. The show is based on a manga. was made by Lapin Track, and the synopsis is as follows. Miyu Suzuki is a high school gyaru who's cheerful, loud, and bubbly. Her classmate Yusuke Tani is quiet, blunt, and introverted. One might say they are polar opposites. Wink, wink. But the polarity of their demeanors unexpectedly draws them to each other. Eventually, Suzuki confesses her feelings, forcing both of them to confront their unspoken affection between them. While they navigate their first romantic relationship, their friends navigate their own matters of love. Otaku, what were your expectations going into this?
So I had no idea what this was. My first dabble with the franchise was episode 1. It looked cute and had potential from the OP, me being a sucker for a good rom-com. So my expectation was that it was probably going to be cute and funny, but also tropey, as most of these are. So, when we did our impressions, it really kind of grabbed me, and my wife and I stuck with it to the end.
Right. Well, I explained during impressions that I might have accidentally put this at the top of my list, which put it in our impressions lineup. So I had intentions probably of moving it down. That's what I think would happen, because when I got into watching our shows for impressions, I believe I did the show with Emery that time, I was looking at what I had to watch and like, who picked this? And so that's what I think might have happened, because I like to reorganize my list as I go. And so I was actually a little, I was begrudgingly watching it a little bit, because I thought this was just going to be like the dime a dozen rom-com, nothing interesting. And I was kind of bummed that it took place of a different show that I wanted to watch for impressions. But, I pressed play, and I was incredibly surprised about how much and quickly I fell in love with this show, because even though it was simple on its face, I just had to pass it. And I thought it was so funny. Like, you can listen to the episode that we did impressions on. It was episode 816. And it was definitely the biggest. I got egg on my face for this one, for being so upset about this being on our impressions list because I made a mistake, and then realizing that this was an actual correct move for me. So, spoiler-free recommendation, Otaku.
Okay, so this is a 100% yes. This is a delightful rom-com from beginning to end of season 1. Not a lot of modern anime have managed to make me laugh out loud with consistency, but this one does. Side characters are important. They matter. There are actually multiple side couples to root for, and they feel and act like teenagers without extra or unnecessary melodrama. So I absolutely recommend, if you like your romantic comedies, this will absolutely check all the boxes for you.
Yeah. I would have to echo that. This has been one of my most favorite rom-coms in recent history. It is in the top 5 for me of the genre, and possibly even a top 3. It has some great visual humor. The large cast of characters are very entertaining. The romance is simple, but it actually gets to the point and doesn't dilly-dally too much, which happens in so many rom-coms these days. There's a confession by episode 1, a date by episode 2, the relationship becomes common knowledge in their class by episode 3, and so everything just moves at a good pace, and at the same time, there is a sweet B-story romance going on at the same time. Everything just feels so light and refreshing. Like, every single time I was watching an episode, I was thinking to myself, this is the epitome of drinking lemonade on a summer's day, sitting out on the deck. It just captures something. There is one glaring flaw, which does make this show lose some of its luster for me, which will be addressed in spoilers. But overall, This has been one of my best mistakes, if you would. And season 2 has been announced, and I'm very excited that we'll get more of it later on. And with that, that's my recommendation. I suppose we should talk a little bit more about non-spoiler things. I mean, there isn't too much to spoil in this show, but I just want to give a little more before we get into spoilers. I thought Suzuki was such a great main character, despite how she looks. You know, when I first got into the show, I was thinking to myself, oh no, she looks insane. She has the snaggle teeth.
I was going to say the double snaggle tooth
Yeah.
gave me pause at first. I was like, what is this going to be?
The bright pink hair, and then on top of that, the school uniforms they have like this lime green tie, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be obnoxious, isn't it? But Suzuki is great. She's so fun. And then Yamada, I thought was, other than the main character, Yamada was my favorite. He is so funny and so sweet. And I love that he got his romance in this season. It's just, I just want to pinch his cheeks.
He's so genuine.
Yeah.
Like he is your very dumb but sweet guy. Like
Yeah.
he's oblivious in portions, but he's so unapologetically himself. Like the way that he interacts with the different people in the friend group, how he is like, you know, a decent friend to Tani. And I also am very happy that he got his romance in the end. I actually kind of felt the same way about Azuma. She's actually my favorite kind of side character. And I'm rooting hard for her. And we can get into that in spoilers later.
Yeah.
But one of the main things I liked about Suzuki is she just loves her man.
I know.
And it's in such a healthy way. Like there's nothing, all the red flags we discussed earlier, there's like really none of that here. She just really likes a boy and kind of puts herself out there. And the story is literally just what happens from episode 1 on. I love that it started with a confession and it just kept rolling. There was no, at least in my opinion, there was no backwards momentum. The story just progressed in a very natural and rather delightful way. And one other thing that's non-spoilerific that I love about Suzuki is how emotive she is.
Yeah.
Whether she's changing, her physical body changes into like a little
blob.
animal or a blob. And the fact that her hairballs constantly pop off of her head
It's good.
when she's emoting. Like they literally detach from her head.
And
land
also
back
about the
in
hair,
place.
like different hairstyles practically every episode, which is such it does not really matter what her hair looks like, but it just, there's an extra level of detail with how they portray the characters, which makes it far more interesting than if they're just standard the whole time.
Right.
And we should talk about Tani too, because while I wouldn't say he's my favorite character, because he doesn't really do too much in the series. I'd say he's pretty decent for being the fairly quiet and antisocial character type.
Oh, for sure. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about this show is that I relate to their dynamic in that I am an extroverted extrovert. You can put me in a room of strangers and I'll probably walk out friends with half of them. Whereas my wife is very much the more introverted and quiet in our dynamic. And I appreciated seeing that animated in that way. And my wife isn't anything like Tani. Let's not get that far. But I love how he is this very stoic and quiet yet intelligent individual. And because we get that inner monologue viewpoint from him, he is thinking a lot of the same things that Suzuki is. He just doesn't know quite how to articulate it or demonstrate it. And seeing their growth as the season progresses is one of the delights of the show.
Yeah.
So I like him as a main male protagonist just because he is the true opposite complement to what she is.
Yeah, and they make it clear that he does find her delightful. Like that he's
Absolutely.
kind of that she's like a little ray of sunshine in his day-to-day life. It's just that he doesn't outwardly express that very often.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's good. I thought the opening was really good. As I mentioned in the mailbag today, just a lot of cool visual illusions that they do. Like they do these photos at the beginning of the
Hmm.
opening, and something you might not even, it's hard to kind of pick up on considering we don't know Japanese, at all. But then I realized like, oh my gosh, they're trying to form their bodies to look like the Japanese characters in the title, which is pretty cool to pick up on. And similar types of ideas going around in the OP, which is good. Um, and we have mentioned it before. The relationship pacing is just perfect. Like, it doesn't feel like it stops because of stupid miscommunications that, are in every single rom-com these days. I mean, I wouldn't say it doesn't completely shy away from tropes. It's just more like whatever tropes they implement, there's a point to it and they wrap it up. Like, they don't
Hmm.
overstay their welcome.
That was actually something that I really noticed when I rewatched it for the review. Is I forgot how when she's talking about the fact that they kind of really kind of head off any misunderstandings right away is when she catches a ride to school with her brother on his motorcycle and she hops off and right in front of Tani while he's walking to school with Azuma, and she sees how he's kind of like confused as to her getting off this motorcycle with this older guy, and she's like, "You don't know who that guy with her is, do you?" And he's like, "No, I don't." So then she's like, "Hey, Suzuki, your older brother, that's your older brother, right?" And it instantly takes away that anxiety from him. And she's like, "Hey, can you introduce me to him?" And Suzuki's like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah, so it's
But
like
she did that on purpose.
these tropes in the beginning of, what their purpose of is just to quickly introduce things that are a little bit exaggerated, but do kind of happen in real life. And
Hmm.
it's just bringing it back to that point. It is just ways to expand upon their knowledge of each other and how the relationship forms. Um, yeah, so that's great. The comedy, especially with the visual metaphors, with her little pink, maybe little hairballs just popping off, and then her becoming like just like soaring through space when she's so in love, and getting embarrassed to the point where she's melting the bed sheets off of her face. Because they're just so creative and they just really hit the point of the emotion they're trying to express in such a
Hmm.
wholesome way.
It's all so delightful. It's literally just the way the if you were to ask me what singular word would I use to describe this, it's a treat.
Mm-hmm.
The whole anime is a treat. And I do very much like I even put in the notes like when they do the different animation styles, whether they're changing their bodies into like an animal or a blob, or they do the chibi moments, they're all done and timed perfectly. Like I never once felt that any of the chibiing moments were out of place, or all of the body transformations and the jokes had a point based on what the character was feeling at the time. And I really think Suzuki is just a tier one, like, best girl protagonist.
Yeah. Oh, there was something I was gonna say, but I've forgotten.
I hope it comes back to you.
I hope so too. um, yeah, I definitely think that this show is like the best half and half of actual romance and actual comedy. Because in a lot of the other shows that we talk about, it's either hard into the comedy that there's hardly any romance in it, or it's, a romance that is not that entertaining.
Hmm. Agreed. Should we
Um,
get into spoilers?
I suppose we could. Let me just get the music.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
And there we go. Spoiler
There it
territory.
is.
Yeah, so let's just jump into my gripe. This is the thing that is the number one thing I was thinking of as I was finishing this show, is that with how good the pacing was and how to the point it typically was, there's no kiss.
Oh, we got so close though.
There's no kiss. And the
We got so
main
close.
problem is that they kept on teasing it. Okay, so
Mhm.
at around like episode 3 or something, they go to like the fireworks show and everything like that. And so they do a near kiss there, and then they break away, and she was like, wait a minute, why am I freaking out? That would have been so bad. Like, I'm kind of, whatever. So I'm like, that's fine. I don't mind that too much because it's still kind of early days in the relationship. That was more of like an accidental close proximity thing. And it seems like she is not so embarrassed, but was more taken off guard in that moment. By the end, they have like 2 solid episodes of them near kissing, or there's like a build up to a possible kissable moment. And it even seems like they're trying to get to that point, but they kept on getting like, distracted, or the moment got ruined or something like that.
Mhm.
If you're gonna do that, it gives the impression that that's going to be the end. That is the climax of the season, that they are going to kiss, especially with how well paced everything else was. And there's no reason for them to not kiss. So why don't they freaking kiss?
No, maybe it was the treat to dangle for season 2. I'm with you. That I personally can find zero gripes with this show, and I know that I kind of have a reputation for being Mr. Positivity, but I literally had no issues with it. Yes, it was a little disappointing to me that there was no kiss, but there was definitely enough moments for me to know that the attraction and love was genuine. I absolutely loved, I think it was episode 3, is when Tani was trying to figure out what Suzuki means by cute.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's asking different questions, and he cups her face with both hands, and she's turning as pink as a sunburnt Irishman on a long sunny day. And he doesn't kiss her. Like, when he had her face cupped with 2 hands, that would have been the perfect moment for a kiss. But then he gives her a head pat and sends her off into the moon.
Yeah.
And I I'm I can understand the frustration part, but I got enough nuggets from their interactions where I wasn't upset. Maybe because they got into a relationship so early on. Whereas, the end game in a lot of those animes is will they, won't they? Whereas this one, it's like, oh no, they do. Then it's just a matter of how does the relationship progress. I think season 2 hopefully will deliver us that moment we both want.
I hope
as far
so
as the
too.
kids
The
is
thing is
concerned.
that I think it just adds the fact that they got together so early. It just gives you more reason to think that the pacing is going to bring you to the point where the kiss comes at a reasonable time, especially because the characters seem perfectly cool with the idea of kissing each other if it was the right moment, but it's the story that kept them from doing it. So that was like my main annoyance with that.
That's fair though.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, and the rest of my cons are really just like very minimal things, like character things. Nishi, I thought, was a little too stereotypically shy. Not too bad. It's just one of those things where she can't even talk to a person at all. And so that's just more of like, this show has been so good. It would have been nice if they were a little bit more delicate with that type of character. And then similarly, Tyra, I thought, was just a little too incel-y at the beginning. again, delicate. You don't have to like go full force on how weird this guy is with his inability to form a relationship with people. And he did get better by the end. Like, I did have a little aw at the end when it seemed like he's more relaxed and happier with the relationships he does have, especially when it was his birthday or belated birthday and people were giving him little gifts and he seemed so grateful for it. So yeah, he does turn out pretty well by the end of the season. It's just more like he was just so strange and weird that I'm like, ew.
I could understand that, but my question to you is, because he is part of my favorite relationships that I'm rooting, do you see him eventually ending up with Azuma?
I think they're definitely pointing to that direction. And it would
I
probably
hope
make
so.
the most sense because, because Tyra has such a, he's so, what's the word? Sensitive about his personality and how people knew him
Yeah.
back in the day. Ozma is one of the only people that know him from middle school. And
Mhm.
so that gives the impression that she's going to be the one that accepts him for who he is. And Ozma, I think I'm more interested in the fact that she's trying to grow as a person before jumping into a relationship, because that seems to be her main problem, is that she looks for other people's attention, but not a meaningful relationship. And that seems to be something that she needs to give herself, you know?
Mhm. I think they are a perfect pairing, and I'm really hoping that they end up together after
Yeah.
season 2.
I think that
uh,
if we're talking of like how this series goes, it gives the impression that there is like a main couple and then there's going to be a B couple storyline going on.
mhm.
That's clear from this season. That main couple is obviously Suzuki and Tani. B couple is Yamada and Nishi. But in second season, maybe it evolves. Maybe the focus or a B plot is going to be about Tyra and Azuma or something like that. Even though Suzuki and Tani do need more development, obviously, we have not yet gotten a kiss. They have not gone to Horia Miyamura levels here. But
Yo, that is a meteoric leap because those two were
Right.
banging by episode 4.
Yeah. And I am interested to see more of Yamada and Nishi's story because finally Nishi's coming out of her shell, being a little more comfortable with somebody like Yamada. And I thought it was so funny how they finally they went on a date, and it just so happened that Tani and Suzuki had the same exact date idea, and they both saw the different couples at different times and ran away,
Mhm.
trying to avoid confrontation during that time. And, they both saw them, but they don't know that the both of them saw them. And actually looking back in the beginning of that episode when, Yamada, no, wait, no, it was like, Yamada and Nishi were walking down the street in Chinatown.
Mhm.
Later on, we know that Suzuki saw them. If you go back, you do see a tuft of black hair walking across the corner of the screen, and that's when they were like
Mhm.
hiding in the restaurant. So you can kind of see how it all kind of pieces together in that way.
Did you notice the cameo in episode 11 in one of the restaurants?
Ooh, what was it?
The girls from Ramparts of Ice are inside the
Really? I
restaurant.
didn't pick up on that.
If you go back to
Were they
episode, I
obvious?
think it's 11. Oh, yes.
I think
And
because it's
I
been so
think in
long since
episode,
I've only seen a couple episodes of Ramparts of Ice for impressions, and I haven't been keeping up on it. If I had, I probably would have noticed them.
I've kept up with it. I'm only one episode behind because of the cruise, but I think in episode 2 of Ramparts of Ice, you do also see Suzuki and her friends. Like
Hmm.
they exist in the same world.
Right. Let's see, what else is there to mention here? I don't know if I have anything else really. I think we kind of hit a lot of the points I have on my list. What about you?
Um, let me look at the list. So just to kind of further the discussion a little bit more, um, I appreciate the fact that nothing that occurred in the show felt unrealistic. One of my biggest frustrations with romance, and that's why I brought up that interaction between Tani and Azuma, is I hate when basic miscommunication leads to like an entire episode 2 of further misunderstandings, and it just isn't.
It's so lazy.
It feels very lazy, and it's also unrealistic because one or two sentences could fix the entire thing. So I appreciated that, you know, Connie's natural apprehension at seeing Suzuki get off of a motorcycle of an older guy, like that is a reasonable response to have, not having all of the information at hand. And Azuma, being the wing girl that she is, goes right by and is like, "Oh, you don't know who that is. Hey, is that your older brother?" "Yeah, it is." And it immediately puts him at ease. And it's like, thank God. Because in most other rom-coms, that would have been a 2 to 3 episode miscommunication, and it would have taken some big, long conversation to get back to a good baseline. None of that happens in this show. It is just, hey, episode 1, we hold hands. It starts off with an accidental hand touch, and then it becomes hand holding, and that's our first misunderstanding, kind of. She's over the moon about it and oversleeps. Tani is feeling like he messed up and goes to apologize to her, and they realize that, oh, both of us actually were into it. And it just naturally follows a healthy progression of two people who are clearly interested in one another. And it was just so refreshing to have a show that just doesn't get bogged down by the tropes that can hold a show back.
Yeah.
So,
and then in a
thank
similar
you.
vein, you with Nishi, even though she is a bit much at the beginning with her shyness, she actually does accept a date from Yamada without too much of an issue. Like, she says yes, and she afterwards thinks to herself, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I said yes." But she says yes, and she doesn't make it such a big deal where it's like she can't talk to him anymore because she's so nervous about it. Although another nitpick, when they're running away from Tani and Suzuki, and all of Nishi's jewelry comes flying out of her bag, and once they got out of the way, Yamada shows that he had collected some of the jewelry. When did he collect that? They were running away. He didn't stop and grab anything. It would have been obvious if he did. It's a Nishi. So I'm like, how'd you get that stuff? Come on.
It's anime physics.
I know it's anime. Yeah.
But I really don't have much more to add. It's not. I guess what we could say is that it's not one of those shows where you can just hop into an episode and be like right into it. It is, I think, the show that you would want to watch in progression from 1 through 12, because the relationship and the show progress simultaneously. So it is linear in that respect, but I don't mind it. And rewatching it a second time made me realize that it has a high rewatchability factor, because I enjoyed it just as much rewatching it that I did watching it the first time. I still found myself smiling, laughing out loud, and enjoying the characters. And I actually found Nishi less annoying the second time, because the first time I saw her shyness was a little too much. But like you said, it doesn't last long, and she comes out of her shell. So it was nice to see that she didn't hold on to that shyness and just be this incommunicative, bumbling mess for another, 9 episodes. So everything progresses, which I think is one of the true benefits of this show.
Yeah. With that, I think we're ready to rate. Otaku, do you want to go first?
Yes. I will just say that this is a show that is as close to a perfect rom-com as you can get. I think Caroline's point about the lack of a kiss is definitely a good one. So I can't give it a perfect score. But what I will give it is 4.5 bouncing hairballs that detach from a head out of 5.
All right. Yeah, I already had an idea of what I was going to rate this show before I finished it. Because here's the thing, I've never given a 5 out of 5 on the podcast before. And at this point, it feels like I cannot. Because there have been shows I probably should have given a 5 out of 5 in the past. But now it's kind of like that inattainable, like, imaginary thing that I can never give a show ever. And then finally, the show gave me a reason to not give it that 5 out of 5. Because even though I was already thinking about not doing it because I put myself in a little box. So, because of the no kiss, I cannot give it more than a 4.5. Who the heck is Gonpachos out of 5?
It's so great. Do you
I
remember
love
in
that
the
running
episode,
joke.
they animate the shadow head and there's like a question mark next to the shadow head?
It's such a random thing that I love it. Yeah, so 4.5 Gonpachos out of 5. And that evens out to a solid 4.5 out of 5 from the AAA
That's a
podcast.
strong score.
Yes,
That is
very.
a strong score.
Please give this show a shot. It is awesome.
Maybe season 2 will be our first 5s because I haven't given one either. But if we get our kiss and it keeps the same energy and progression, maybe that'll be our first 5.
I will be happy if it just keeps this consistency of humor and good wholesomeness and fun characters. Though a kiss would be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be nice. And with that, we're gonna wrap it up here. Please join us on Discord for any future discussions. Please join the Anime Club. We're together every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those places. And next week, we don't actually know what they're going to review. They have not updated the schedule yet, but that's up to them to decide. So look forward to a surprise review of some sort next week. And with that, I think we're going to close it out here. Thank you again for joining us today. I bid you farewell.
Later.